Hello, I'm Andy and welcome to Vectra News, your full of gaming news for the week of the 24th of May 2014. Coming up in this week's episode, Blizzard sues Starcraft 2 hackers, Steam's home streaming goes live, Alienware say their Steam machine will be its least profitable system, and Star Citizen's dogfighting module finally gets a release date. Blizzard is suing the modders of the Valiant Chaos map pack, who will face charges of copyright infringement and breach of contract. This week, Blizzard filed a document with the Californian court claiming the modders have unjustly profited from their actions whilst causing significant damage to Blizzard. According to Eurogamer, the mod itself sells for around $62, which equates to approximately £37 here in the UK, and gives players an unfair advantage in the game, in which in Blizzard's eyes makes the game less fun for non-cheaters. Ultimately, if Starcraft 2 gets flooded with hackers, it could start to harm sales of the game, with Blizzard also noting that by saying it could cause users to grow dissatisfied with the game, lose interest in the game, and communicate that dissatisfaction. The results in lost sales of the game and or add-on packs and expansions thereto as well will harm Blizzard's reputation and the value of its game. The mod is said to give players features like showing player selections, player clicks, and giving the ability to enable the observer panel. This will in turn give cheaters the ability to see what their opponent's building, and therefore give them the ability to change their build order to counter whatever the opponent is currently building at the time, which, if you play Starcraft, knowing the opponent's build order will give you a significant advantage and give you pretty much the match in your hand, as long as you can play the game well. The case itself lays out 6 counts of its infringement. The first one is a direct copyright infringement, then contributory copyright infringement, vicarious copyright infringement, trafficking in circumvention devices, a breach of contract, and intentional interference with contractual regulations. These points cover everything from reproducing and adapting Starcraft 2 without authorization and making it publicly available, to also profiting from this venture. It also quotes the maximum statutory damage entitlement of $150,000 per copyright infringement, along with any of the profits proven at a trial. All of this basically translates to holy shit snacks, someone's going to have a bad day. However, the interesting part of this is that Blizzard doesn't currently know the identities of the modders, and at present it's also unknown how Blizzard is planning to uncover their identities or how much they'll be pursuing in damages. Steam announced its home streaming service this week, which is available to all users participating in the Steam beta. However, the hosting computer has to be running on a Windows PC at present. This will mean that users can play games on lower spec computers and also play PC games on Mac, SteamOS, and Linux systems. In order to be able to do this, the user will need to log on to Steam on both computers, making sure they're on the same network, and it's pretty much as simple as clicking stream on the PC you're trying to stream to. The game doesn't actually need to be installed on the streaming PC, it just needs to be installed on the one you're streaming from. For the highest quality stream, a wired connection is recommended, and Valve are also recommending the PC that's being streamed to is at least a quad-core processor. This feature has been expected since late 2013 and possibly could be one reason to purchase a Steam box when they're finally released for users to stream into their living room. However, a date hasn't been announced yet. Just remember, if you do want to use this streaming service, you will need to opt into the Steam beta. Having a quick go at this, it does also seem that the keyboard and mouse on the system that you're streaming to can also be used to control the game. At present, it's unknown by myself if you can actually use the controls on both the PCs. So for example, if you're playing a game like Towerfall, one person would have a controller attached to one PC and the streaming PC would have another one, and if you could play them essentially with your own monitors. Valve will also be offering the service for SteamOS, Linux and macOS soon, however a date is yet to be announced. The general manager of Dell's Alienware PC game division, Frank Azure, spoke to the Wall Street Journal this week saying that Alienware's Stream Machine will absolutely be the least profitable system they ever sell. Earlier in the year, Alienware stated that their Steam machine would be competitively priced with the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. However, the specs of the machine at the time weren't released, and to date they are still unknown. However, we do know that it will have an Intel CPU and an Nvidia GPU. Again, these specs are unknown. However, it's assumed that it won't be as high as some of the Alienware PCs themselves. Even with this skepticism from Azure, Alienware will still be pursuing their machine, which according to him is due to Valve's previous successes in the past with their PC gaming. Being able to use the machine as a cut price streaming box from a primary PC could persuade some more hardcore gamers to buy one as an option for their living room, although they could just use a long or wireless HDMI lead, which would give them a similar experience, I feel, and without the potential loss in gaming functionalities with the streaming service. With all of this in mind, the actual want for a Steam machine is still a complete and utter mystery for me. However, I really did feel the same way about the iPad when that came out a few years ago, and we can all see how much of a success that's been. The price and the spec of the Alienware Steam Box will be available towards the end of the year when the rest of the Steam Boxes start to become commercially available. Until that time, we'll just have to wait for that. Star Citizen's dogfighting module has finally received a release date after receiving its first public showcase back in April, just before PAX. In the Arena Commander weekly report, Chris Roberts wrote, "We intend to launch the Arena Commander in 2 weeks, on the 29th of May. The goal is that every backer will have access to the single player, Free Fight and Vanduul Swarm games on this day, and the very first batch of multiplayer testers will get access to the game's multiplayer modes. We will scale up the multiplayer as quickly as possible, starting on that date, increasing the number of players as it is stable and stopping to fix bugs where needed." However, they haven't specified at this time who the first people into the multiplayer testing stage will be. I would assume that it will be people that joined in the Kickstarter backing back last year. The date isn't 100% solid as there's still a lot to do with the game. Chris Roberts also laid out a schedule of updates to the game they need to do in order to actually get this all live. However, at the time of recording, the funding for Star Citizen was just $8,500 off the $44 million mark, giving the game an even bigger lead in its crowdfunding record. I have to say it's an exciting time now as the space sims are slowly creeping back in, with Elite Dangerous also entering its beta mode and its multiplayer mode also opening on the 30th of May. What are your opinions? Are any of you excited about Star Citizen or maybe even Elite, and is this a genre that you guys want to see back? Because it was definitely one of my favourite genres back when I was a kid. Anyway, that's all from Vectra News. If you missed it this week, check out the Spawn Point with our special guest Warpath Gaming and the video announcement of vectranews.co.uk. Don't forget to like, favourite, subscribe and follow us on Twitter to keep up to date with everything on the network. And as always, we'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.